I'm glad I look beautiful. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mark. Hello.
Hello. So. I've got an old man crick in my neck, but other than that, just I can feel 40 hurtling towards me these days. That's the problem.
I got through my cold, and then I just woke up this morning with proper I don't know, greater throat. I can't think of the right word for it, but it's
Need some
unpleasant.
strepsils.
I've got
This
some.
this this
Yeah.
episode of Livestream is sponsored by strepsils.
It is. Yeah, perhaps actually no, they're not. They're boot zone. Can't afford strepsils. Too expensive, man. Got the same ingredients. Anyway, welcome everybody to 30 Days of Tools
Hello.
live stream. We are on
Hello,
day
hello, hello, hello.
20. Two-thirds
20.
of the way.
2/3, yes.
Excellent.
2/3. And we're back on top as well after yesterday's epic,
We are. We
mega long streams and stuff.
We've got a few bonuses to pick up on though, haven't we? I think at some
We
point.
do.
So we
We
need to
do.
factor them into our plan.
Yes.
Or maybe we could. Maybe actually, I think we should do them standalone. I think we can give the sponsors a bit more love. We can add a bit of branding to this screen as well, and maybe do it that way.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good idea.
Video on the playlist. So, if you don't know what 30 Days of Tools is, the first time you're clicking on this, you're like, what the hell are these two talking about having a cold for? My name's Richard. I'm the boss boss at MOT. This chap is Mark Winteringham. He is the ops boss at MOT, and currently Ministry of Testing has 30 days of testing going on, and we are focusing on tools. Mark and I have lots of expertise and share a lot of content around automation and tools, so we thought, let's take part in our own initiative, and we'll stream it every day so we actually do it and don't fall behind, which happens with all these things because of life, jobs, everything. It's normal, it's fine, we expect it. But we thought if we, say we're going to be on a stream and we'll be accountable, we'll be there. And here we are.
Here we are.
Day 20.
Day
Let's have a look what we've
20.
got here.
Yes.
Ooh, interesting. Share who has taught you how to get the most out of a tool. Send them a
Nice,
thank
yes.
you message, perhaps. How did they help you? What approach did they take to teach you? And then think of yourself. Who could you teach? What could you teach? Interesting. Okay,
Yes.
I've got to think about
Interesting one. See, for me, I know who it is that sort of kind of set me on the tools journey, and that is definitely Alan Richardson, aka Evil Tester.
this. Yeah.
And I remember coming across his content when I was at a point in my career where I was getting quite frustrated because I hadn't really, I'd sort of fallen into that sort of trap of its test cases and automating UI stuff. And I knew something was missing,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what. And yeah, his a colleague of mine at the time, she sort of recommended. She was like, "Oh, you should check out." Like, she's like, "Have you heard of Ministry of Testing?" No. Even though I think actually then it was still like testing club,
Okay.
and a few other bits and pieces like that. And yeah, Alan's website was mentioned, and he just started doing a few YouTube videos and stuff, and he showed Burp Suite. And Burp Suite was like the first thing that was the first tool I think I used, and I started learning proxies, and that's where the HTTP stuff started coming in, because it was sort of like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, I didn't know this. And that's kind of what set me off with this sort of idea of discovering stuff. And then like meeting you at RST and doing RST as well, that encouraged me to create my own personal private wiki of stuff, and that's where the toolbox came. So it was sort of, the ideas kind of came from Evil Tester, but then other things sort of made me think about like ways in which I could sort of capture all of it as a tool belt and things like that before I started blogging.
Mr. Richardson, the first tester I ever met.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
the first conference I went to was actually Selenium Conf in London in 2011, I think it was. So I'd been chatting to, I think Rosie had been on Twitter, and she'd connected me to Software Testing Club, and I started blogging, tweeting about Selenium a little bit. but I can't remember why. I don't think I. Well, I can't remember if I asked to go to test bash or not. But let's say I did. Otherwise, it'll look bad on me, right? So I tried to go, right? Couldn't go. But then we were doing a lot of Selenium work at the time, so I think at the time Selenium Conf was like £100 or something. It was like the first year. It was kind of like, you know, really like low community focus cost. And yeah, I stood on a table, knew absolutely nobody, just stood on my own, and some chap just came up to me and said hello. Started chatting to him. Again, I didn't recognise him like anything like that. He just started chatting to me, and then realised, you know, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about. It's probably tools and like, you know, fun techie stuff. And then he gave me his little business card, and it was Alan Richardson's Evil Tester. And then I remember connecting after that, and then obviously subsequently staying in touch. So
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. So it's tough for me not to go down the Selenium route again, just because I did become so efficient in Selenium, and it did make such a difference in like the jobs that I got and like the progression that I was able to get. Or rightly or wrongly, right at the time, it was, you know, the hottest ticket in town. Like I saw a thread the other day of someone talking about their developer salary, it was American, but I think how they went from like $60,000 a year up to like 280 now or something like that over the space of like 6 years, and like just by switching jobs. And I remember I did something similar. I went from, I think when I moved to Nottingham, I think it was only 22, and then in like 3.5 years time it was up to like 38, and most of that was moving because of like Selenium jobs. And obviously this was like 7 years ago, right? So it was completely different.
My experience was the same. Like I moved from one role to another. I can't quite remember the salaries, but there was a considerable jump because the word automation suddenly appeared in my title.
So to think of the person, then it probably has to be David Burns. So the automated tester, all these names, but yeah, I think the automated tester, because he was very actively blogging and also very active on the forums for Selenium at the time, in giving out a lot of support in those places. So I think as I kind of got up to stuff, and I'm pretty sure now if I loaded up some of my earlier blogs, I'm pretty sure I mentioned David quite a few times. I think David Burns, automated tester, he's still very active. He spent years at Mozilla doing lots of awesome things around Marinette there, and I know that he now works at BrowserStack and is basically running their open source initiative, and is still one of the core Selenium contributors. And he has the fun job of doing all the spec, or a lot of the spec work, which I mean he loves. So yeah, big thank you to David Evans just for being active. David Burns, just for being active. And then that kind of led me to think of what I could teach, and I started blogging about Selenium and all the different ways I was using it, and then lots of other tools around stuff like that. So I think it wasn't really one-to-one teaching. It was just more that he was actively sharing himself, which led to me being able to learn from him.
Yeah, and that's definitely my experience. Is that so? I picked Alan out because it's a fair few years ago now, but they're the ones that I remember sort of the most, and the ones where I sort of started going, oh. But there was an absolute wealth of different blogs and stuff and different things that people were writing about tools, and also sort of I think the mindset as well. So learning things like the test heuristic cheat sheet, I think was really interesting because it didn't take much for me to leap from that to I could do this with tools, but I think it was important that I became aware of that in the first place as the potential of these are the sort of places that you can explore. So it's sort of that, two parts is that knowing what your tools are, but knowing the opportunities that exist as well. And that really helped. I found that really helped me.
Yep. Absolutely. So let's see. I've lost Econ. Where's it gone? There it is. Right. Let's have a look on the club. So not much update today on the club. We've got Louise Gibbs chipping in this morning. So again, it's probably could just be a tricky one to answer for people. Like maybe they're trying to think of like one-to-one hands-on kind of education as opposed to someone just being active. Again, if you think of people right now who are very active around tools, like the one that Louise has mentioned, so I know Gatsby and GoCo are quite active around SpecFlow. You've got lots of people active around Cucumber. Obviously, now that Smart Bear bought it, there's a bit more of that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Angie Jones with Appy Tools, obviously, like again, part of DevRel Roland with TAU, doing a lot of stuff there. But I think that's it really. It's like, and I think, well, actually, right now there's Suman's doing a Charles Proxy workshop, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff out there, but I think I haven't seen too much of kind of how I feel like it used to be when people would just like blog just about the one tool for like a year. Like just pretty much, like they had their own version of the documentation on their own blog, as opposed to the other one. But yeah, let's see what Louisa's got here. So she's gone with Gasper. Gasper Nagai, I think you pronounce it. I'm not entirely sure.
Nagy.
Gasper Nagy. So this is cool. So 2019, Louise attended the London Tested Gathering workshops, which we organised with Mr. Tony Bruce. That kind of became a lot difficult. It might be actually probably be somewhat easier now because I imagine venue costs in London have probably dropped with the fact that
true.
A lot of the workforce has left and obviously things are a bit tough at the moment. But yeah, those are awesome initiatives and great workshops. It just became a bit difficult to fill them. But yeah, when we did have them, there was lots of hands-on tool stuff. So yeah, we had Gasper there. He was doing automating BDD scenarios using SpecFlow. And she blogged about it, and it gave her own confidence to then go on and run 99-minute workshops.
Yeah. So it's awesome as well, like seeing sort of like some of the people you've mentioned as well about how we've learned from others, and now we're sort of passing that information through and sharing. I think that's one of the things. Like sometimes people sort of get a bit sort of, I don't know what to teach, I don't know what to share and stuff. But like, there's so many tools out there, and there's so many different ways and different experiences around those. I think that there's a lot there that can be sort of mined and then shared as well.
Well, I'm reminded of something I tweeted ages ago, and actually mentioned Angie shared it as well recently, obviously with her own wording and obviously huge following. It got picked up a lot, but you know, the idea that it's your voice, so it doesn't matter that, like Mark, you might have blogged every single thing possible, you know, about Selenium, right? Or Pat.
Yeah.
You know, let's assume you're going to do Pat, right? Or you know, you cover everything in this. Hang on, you've got something coming out soon, haven't you? What are you working on? All right, yeah, that was it. Yeah. So whatever you cover in your book, it doesn't mean that someone can't write the same chapter, because then it's their words. Yeah. And I think people often get overlooked. It's like, well, why you know, I can't blog about Appy Tools because, you know, Angie's doing all that. It's like, sure, but Andrew would be the first to encourage you because it's your version of it now. We get to see your style, your writing style, your talking style, your teaching style. We get to see the things that you emphasize, you know, the things that you bring to the table, because often it's just not talking about the tool. Like, it's very rare that someone just says, right, if you type A, click B, do this. It's more of, so I use it this way because I found this the better approach, because this complemented my other testing of A, B, and C. Like you get more of the narrative with the way people, you know, different people share. So yeah, I absolutely agree. It's awesome that we see people doing it, but yeah, more and more people, you know, hopefully we can help you and you feel confident. But if you're not, like, you know, reach out to people in the community. We'd love to help you realize the stuff that you can share and that you can write about and teach. And also, I actually, me and Mark have been chatting, like talking about like where we want to take MOT. I actually see us doing a lot more of the groundwork for you. So like, we're looking for someone to write an article that answers these two questions. So instead of you always having to, you know, think on the spot, Test.bash next week, we came up with 5 talk outlines and said, who wants to do this talk? Like, you know, we want 5 talks. Here they are. Who can deliver this talk? You don't have to think of what you can talk about, not worrying about writing an abstract. It's, there you go. So hopefully we'll do a bit more of that next year, I think, and just make it a bit more like an easy way to jump in, like, because it's there. And I to be honest, I'm the same. I'm lazy. When companies reach out to me to write for them, I was like, I'll happily write for you, but I'm so busy, I can't be bothered. I just don't have the capacity to think of what to write about. Yeah. But if you came to me and said, hey, Richard, I want you to write about the illusion of green, when, you know, like, what does it mean when builds go green? I'd be like, boom, yeah, no worries. I want you to write about, you know, how to design good oracles or good assertions. Absolutely no problem. But if you just said, Richard, I want you to write for us, it's like,
Yeah, you got to have the moment of inspo.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you really struggle. So I really do think we'll see a lot more of these messages, probably maybe on social, because people probably tag the people they're thanking and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a really nice one. I think it's just nice to thank people, and it's always it's just always like a nice confidence boost to be hearing things every once in a while.
Yeah, a good example is I have a little donation page where you can buy me a cup of tea and a piece of cake for Restful Booker, because it's just free to use. And someone recently donated and told me that they used Restful Booker in a technical interview and got the job, and that was lovely to hear. Don't get me wrong, the tea and cake was very nice, but also it's nice to hear the things that you put out there are having a positive effect on people's lives.
Fantastic. So we will be back tomorrow.
I can't wait for tomorrow's challenge.
Well, we have a demo, Mark, on the stream.
It today. Oh, definitely going to have a demo.
Okay.
I think we definitely should give it a go.
So tomorrow's challenge is a hands-on one. So
yes,
if you're like, I've been desperate just to get hands-on with doing something, tomorrow's your chance. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all for watching.
Oh.
Check out 30 Days of Tools and check out Test.bash, which is a week tomorrow. All right.
Exciting.
Bye everyone. See you later.